Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Monday, September 25th, 2023. Larry Johnson joins us now. Before we talk about the Canadian Parliament and President Zelensky honoring an ex-SS stormtrooper in the Canadian Parliament, I just want to ask some big picture questions because of some emails that I got before the sun came up this morning from our mutual friend, Ray McGovern, and I know you want to weigh in on this. Why do you think, according to polls, most Americans would support a hot war, not a proxy war, an actual war with Russia?
They've attended too many showings of Top Gun, watched too many Hollywood movies. I mean, candidly, they have no concept of the kind of devastation the United States would face, because any kind of U.S. military attack on Russia is going to be reciprocated. And Russia has the ability through submarines, and not using nuclear tipped missiles, they can use conventional explosives, but they can hit every city in the United States if they want. And so the United States, we've lived with this illusion, this fantasy for over 200 years that we can't be attacked. The last significant attack in the United States was in the War of 1812. So the United States has never had to deal with the issue of a foreign invading force that's armed and killing Americans. The Russians have. And the Russians have done it repeatedly over, 300-400 years. So the Russians are accustomed to that, and the United States would be facing some of that same medicine if we try to go down this path. It's terribly stupid.
Can you attribute this consensus among Americans to the CIA and the propagandists, in addition to a fortunate history that so we have no experience with it?
I don't think it's...
Our friend Ray McGovern says that Fiona Hill and her buddies in the intelligence community have been beating the drum for this for generations.
Right. No, that's true. But Fiona Hill and the others, they come out of Department of Defense. And in fact, I was just reading the new cybersecurity report of the Department of Defense. And the United States government has become more active in cyber activities, which includes propaganda, getting onto social media, planting false stories, convincing Americans, as you see many commentators saying, oh, Russia is losing, Ukraine is winning, Russia is retreating. And when that message is constantly repeated throughout a variety of social media, whether it's Facebook or X, formerly known as Twitter, or Instagram or TikTok, it starts becoming part of people start saying, yeah, that's what I believe. In fact, when I've had occasions where I try to tell people the opposite, they look at me like I got three heads.
The CIA's attitude toward President Putin, Larry, would you describe it as hatred? Would you describe it as fear or as something else?
I'm not sure there is one agreed upon point of view, because, Cy Hirsch has been reporting correctly. There's a split within CIA. So you have some who demonize Putin, that there is nothing good or positive about Putin. He's cast in the same light as Joseph Stalin, Adolf Hitler, Pol Pot. That nobody will step back and take an objective look at him. But there are a few who try. The problem with that is once the narrative is set, anybody who tries to counter that narrative not only can be shut down, can actually be fired or taken off the account or shunted aside. So there is cancel culture inside the CIA as well.
Last week, in the editorial pages of the Wall Street Journal, John Ratcliffe, who was the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence for the last 18 months of President Trump's term in office, and in a different piece, but on our show, Professor Jeffrey Sachs of Columbia University made the following argument. Now, this has to do with COVID. We're not going to get into the virology of COVID, but it's the CIA. They both said the same thing, and that is that the CIA bribed certain analysts who were examining the origins of COVID to change the results of their examination of their research so as to conform to a preconceived government narrative. Do you have any reason to believe that happened? And if so, is this standard? Does the CIA bribe its own employees?
Judge, you're taking the wrong view on this. We have the best intelligence money can buy. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's true. I never experienced that while I was there. Boy, I wish I had.
McGovern said the same thing. Boy, I wish they put that money in my pocket.
Yeah, I'll say. Okay, here we're gonna pay you to lie, and that's unfortunate. But we've seen.
It's one thing, I think, and correct me if you have a different view, for the CIA spinmeisters to take raw data and spin it so that the Oval Office hears what they want to hear. It's another thing for CIA management to bribe somebody on an international commission to change the results of their research. Bribe.
Well,
cash.
There have been instances in the past. I was witness indirectly to one in which an analyst who had written something about Nelson Mandela was being pressured by Bob Gates, who was then the director of intelligence at CIA, to say the exact opposite. Now, Gates didn't offer him money to change his position, and the analyst, whose first name was John, refused to budge. And to the analyst's credit, he resisted the efforts of management. But it sounds like there's a whole different crew of management in now, and more let's call them politically pliant analysts below.
So last week,